Good afternoon friends. We are here with another video which is on a very important topic. These days there are a lot of digital players in the field of healthcare. These players which you would be knowing by the names of Practo, Pristyn Care, Mfine and their Credihealth, Library, there are so many of them. They are threatening the healthcare market, its profitability. What are these players up to? In this field, I would tell you a small story. Internet came in the year 1998 and Make My Trip was founded in the city of Gurgaon in the year 2000. Those were the days when being a hotel owner was a very important thing in any city. You would have many friends who would like to be sitting in that hotel and enjoying your hospitality. So what happened to the hotel industry? Those were the days when a tourist would be brought to a hotel by an auto wala and the auto wala would get 100 rupees as his commission. And there were other tourists who would come to a hotel through the travel agents who would be operating from several cities. Make My Trip eyed this market and they started listing these hotels. In fact, internet was so new, so none of the hotels knew how to use the digital medium for the marketing of their product. And so they were all very gullible and started getting listed on Make My Trip, and Make My Trip was charging them a very small amount of 20, 30, 40 rupees for getting them a customer. Slowly the number of tourists coming through Make My Trip started increasing. The hotels were happy and they sort of disrupted their own traditional form of marketing through the travel agents and the auto walas, the taxi walas. Very soon, more than 70 to 80% of the tourists coming to a hotel were coming through Make My Trip. This is the time when these digital players start squeezing you, and initially they started increasing their commissions, which went to 10%, 15%, 20%. Very soon, with the power of the digital database that these digital players had, they knew how many tourists were getting booked through their platform in a particular hotel on a particular day. And then they started buying those rooms much in advance at discounts ranging from 50% to 60%, and then offering the same rooms to the tourists who were searching for the hotel rooms on their platforms. What happened in this process was that the hotel owners who were carrying out all the operations, who were responsible for all the legal responsibilities, their earning dropped to 5%, 10%, and their return on investment was pathetically low, while these digital players, without actually owning any single hotel in the country, were earning in the range of 40% to 50% of the revenue. So without any investment, their profits soared. In due course of time, Make My Trip got listed not in India but in United States of America on NASDAQ, and is today valued in excess of $2.5 billion. And the entire hotel industry went into deep slump, and later on with other players, also players like Trivago and Oyo and all coming in, the hotel industry is dead, especially for the investors, for the owners, and is profitable only for these digital players. While I was telling you this story, the same story got repeated in virtually every industry, and now it is the turn of healthcare. It is very important for the doctors and the hospital owners to understand the journey of the digital players in the field of healthcare. It all started with Practo being founded in the year 2008 in the city of Bangalore. Initially, they were offering free software to the hospitals, the clinics, for booking appointments for the patients. Even then, it was very clear that nobody would offer you something free of cost. So what were they eyeing was your database of the patients, through the software, when you would make the bookings, they would get all the demographic details of your patients. And once you were using their software for writing prescriptions, then they would get the medical details also of the patients and would know the disease profile and everything. And very soon they started using the internet for giving free listing to the doctors. And then they started giving you patients in the OPD for consultations for very small amounts of 50 rupees, 100 rupees for each patient. And the doctors thought that this is the cheapest marketing that they can get their hands on, and were all for it. Very soon several copycats of Practo like Credihealth, Liberate and so on and so forth, many other players also entered the field and started offering the same set of services, and they soon entered the field of Google search and search engine optimization, where they would do the listing of the doctors specialty wise, and then they were selling packages to these doctors that you will get so many number of patients for say 500 rupees, 800 rupees, and the doctors thought that this is much cheaper than even sending out a pamphlet into the market. But they didn't realize that nothing comes cheap and nothing comes for free. What these digital players were looking for was to garner the entire market share and one day offer the same thing to the doctors at a very high cost. That day has now arrived. Today, Practo claims that it earns 50% gross margins on its business to customer segment, which is sending patients to the doctors for OPD consultations, which means that if a doctor has a fee of about 800 rupees from a patient, around 400 rupees goes to these digital players. In fact, they do not even call them digital intermediaries or digital players, they call themselves digital disruptors. What does disruptor mean? So basically their entire objective is to disrupt the existing system of healthcare. And what was this existing system of healthcare? So there are a large number of general practitioners in the country, and then there are some specialist doctors and there are super specialist doctors. There are nursing homes and the hospitals where these specialists and super specialist doctors are found. So these general practitioners provide basic medical treatment to their patients, and when there is a specific requirement for a specialist, these patients used to get referred to the specialist by the general practitioners. These digital players call themselves disruptors because they want to disrupt this existing system and they want to replace it. Now they don't want to replace it through their referral system of their own. They actually want to control this market. And the total market size of healthcare in India is close to 10 lakh crores, of which around 3 to 5 lakh crores is in the field of OPD consultations, diagnostics and surgical work, and the rest is in the primary health care and intensive care and so on and so forth. So basically these digital disruptors are eyeing this market of around 30 to 50 billion US dollars. It is very early days now. There are some more players like Pristyn Care, Hexa Health, players who are exclusively focusing on the surgical market. They're trying to commoditize healthcare, where patients would be searching for a particular surgical treatment like knee replacement, pile surgery, cataract surgery, and these patients would land up on the platforms of these digital disruptors and would then get transferred to a particular doctor or a particular hospital for treatment. So where does the money come in for these digital disruptors? Now this is a very strange thing which I don't know whether it happens in other countries or not, but it definitely happens in India. For a particular service given by a doctor at a particular hospital, say cataract surgery, there are several kind of rates on which these services are offered. So there is a rate which a cash patient would pay for a cataract surgery, say about 25,000, 40,000, something like that. Then there are rates which are offered to the insurance companies, which would be in most cases lower than the cash patient rates. And then there are rates which are offered to the panel patients. Now these panels are CGHS, ECHS, ESI, Ayushman, etc. So for a surgery like gallstone surgery, if a cash patient is paying around 35 to 40,000 rupees, insurance companies would pay around 25,000 rupees, and CGHS is paying only 10,000 rupees. Now these digital disruptors looked at this scenario and they realized that the actual cost might be lower than 10,000 rupees. They didn't realize that the hospitals and the doctors are cross subsidizing the service. So while they are making some money from the cash patient, which is much more than the money that they make from the panel patients, and there are other things also which happens in the healthcare which are also unfortunate. For example, for the people go to these panels like CGHS and ECHS, where the actual work done is X and the bill sent to these panels is X plus Y, where Y is never done. So basically the digital disruptors didn't look at all those things, but they were able to get the rates which have been offered for all the services to all the hospitals through the 30-35 insurance companies, and they realized that there is a lot of flexibility in the healthcare. And then they went on their journey of raising money from the investors, promising them 40 to 50% returns on their investment over a 5 to 10 year period, and which is practically not possible because all the cash patients which go to a particular doctor or a hospital may not be able to be done on the rates which are being offered to CGHS. But this is what these digital disruptors have thought, and they have made it their modus operandi, that if we corner all the cash patients from these hospitals and the doctors, then one day would be there when we will be able to make these doctors work on the CGHS rate for the entire spectrum of the patients. It is important to understand the modus operandi of the digital disruptors, because you in your daily practice you would have been approached by many of these players. You might have entered into some sort of agreement with these players, whether by buying their packages or whether offering them your operation theaters or beds and other hospital facilities. So basically what they do is they bring in some amount of money through 5 or 6 investors. Now this is not small money, this is in millions of US dollars. So a company like Practo has already raised close to 300 to 400 million US dollars, and there are other players who have equivalent amount of money. And what they would do is something called cash burning. So they would know that a particular hospital is offering a particular surgery. Let's say pile surgery is being offered at a particular hospital for 50,000 rupees. Now these digital disruptors would list the same hospital on their website and would offer the same surgery for 40,000 rupees, and in most of the cases through the same surgeon. Now when a patient goes to that particular surgeon, the surgeon quotes a price of 50,000 rupees and the patient says, but on that particular website it's being offered for 40,000. So the surgeon says, fine, go and book it from there. So the patient would book the surgery on a site of a company like Practo or Pristyn Care or Exa Health for 40,000 rupees. Now that company would pay 50,000 rupees to the surgeon. They would charge the patient 40,000 rupees and they'll pay the surgeon 50,000 rupees, thereby incurring a loss of 10,000 rupees for the surgery. Now this is their method. This is called cash burning. For each surgery that will get booked on their platform, they will incur a loss of 5,000, 10,000, and slowly they will start increasing the number of surgeries. So by the time they will reach 1 lakh surgeries, they would have burned 100 million US dollars. By the time they would reach 10 lakh surgeries or 1 million surgeries, they would have blown $1 billion US dollars. यानी 7,000-8,000 करोड़ रुपए का वो नुकसान झेल चुके होंगे जब तक वो 10 लाख ऑपरेशन आपके थ्रू हिंदुस्तान के अलग अलग अस्पतालों में कराएंगे, लेकिन तब तक उनके पास मार्केट का 10 से 20% शेयर आ चुका होगा. इस तरीके से उन्होंने अगर 10 बिलियन डॉलर्स भी इस मार्केट में लूज कर दिए, they have their investors ready to blow 10, 15, 20 billion US dollars, because the market size is almost 30 to 50 billion US dollars. and they are eyeing profits in the range of 70 to 80%. They think if a surgery is being done for 50,000 rupees for a cash patient and the same surgery is being done for 10,000 rupees for the CGHS patient, that means there is an inherent 80% flexibility. And a day would come when they'll book the surgery for 50,000 rupees for the same cash patient, and then they will pay 10,000 rupees to the hospital, which is the CGHS rate, for doing the same surgery. This stage will come when they will have cornered more than 50-60% of the market share, which is not very far at the pace at which they are going. It is high time that the doctors realize the dark future which is in front of them and unite to fight this menace. They can fight it, provided they all unite, provided they all understand where they are going. Today, for hospitals operating at 20 to 30% operation theatre occupancy, it appears very lucrative to the hospital owner to offer their operation theatre to these digital players who claim that they will bring their own patient and their own surgeon and simply use the operation theatre and will pay an X amount to the hospital owner. No, they are not bringing their own patient. They are taking your patient. They are probably taking the patient of another hospital right now, but very soon they will start taking your patients. And once you don't have any patients to operate upon, then you will also have to join their bandwagon. And they will be offering you 10,000, 15,000 rupees for each day of service, which will amount to 4 to 5 lakh rupees of earning in a month, and they'll make you do 5-7 surgeries. But a day will come when they will be offering you much lower than this, and the doctor's earnings would get reduced from 4-5 lakh rupees a month to just 1 to 2 lakh rupees, and they'll have nowhere to go because the entire market would be monopolized by these digital disruptors. And if you start fighting back on that day, once the entire market is gone, I think it would be too late. So how can the doctors and the hospitals fight with these powerful corporations, these powerful players who are flush with funds? In fact, making this video is also a very risky proposition because these are real powerful people. By making this video, I am making an enemy out of them. They are not people who are going to sit idle. They are also going to fight back, and they have their banks flush with funds, and funds not in millions of dollars but in billions and billions of US dollars. But how can the doctors fight back? First thing is that the doctors will have to understand that they themselves are an asset and they are a brand. Just by doing MBBS, a doctor normally spends anywhere between 50 lakhs to 1 crore of rupees. For doing a specialization in any branch, you spend anywhere between 1.5 to 2.5 crore rupees. So by the time you are a postgraduate doctor, you are an asset worth at least 3.5 crore rupees. And what do you do for setting up your practice? You take a clinic on rent, furnish it modestly. But when it comes to marketing your services, you choose the cheapest medium. You choose the worst kind of people. When it comes to digital marketing, even hospitals which have spent 10 crores, 15 crores in setting up the product have such websites which suck. I'm going to show you a website. Look at this. This is the home page of the website. And what does it say? Chairman's Massage. Now, how can you hire people who could not even pronounce gastroenterology and who would not understand healthcare? So any Tom, Dick and Harry who comes to you and says, I can make a website, and you give the contract to those people. Anybody who comes to you and says, I can write a copy for the healthcare and I can do content writing. What does content writing mean for them? They will go on a Mayo website or WebMD or something or the other, and they'll cut, copy and paste. No, this is not how marketing is done. Marketing in any particular industry is done through professionals, and healthcare also need professionals who are expert in healthcare marketing, who understand the consumer behavior, who understand the product, who understand the industry. So the first thing for the doctors is to get a decent marketing for the product that they have. It could be your clinic, it could be you as an individual, as a professional specialist doctor, or it could be your nursing home or a hospital. In fact, I would credit the bigger hospitals, the corporate chains, just like the top end of the hotel industry, the 5-star hotels, who initially joined the bandwagon of these digital players like Make My Trip, but very soon they realized the pitfall associated with these things, and they jumped off these players and created their own strong marketing program, and were able to fight the onslaught of these digital players. And even today the top end hotel chains are quite profitable. Similarly, the top end hospitals in the country, hospitals like Apollo, Max, Fortis, these hospitals so far have not fallen for these digital players. Some of them, like Apollo, Spectra and all, who entered into agreements with these players, soon realized the mistake and broke off those, terminated those agreements. So they understand that they will have to protect their domain, they will have to protect their space, they will have to protect their own patients from falling in the lap of these digital disruptors. So the first thing that any medical professional or a hospital owner needs to do is to create a decent marketing program, which would include digital marketing, which would include strengthening of their traditional referral marketing sources, which would also include the outdoor branding and everything that falls in the domain of marketing. One of the weakest spot in the healthcare is the training of the staff. This is where the ball gets dropped. So when a patient calls up any particular hospital or the number that you have advertised, the person at the other end is at best capable of giving the timings of the doctors or booking an appointment for the patient. The person at the other end is never capable of understanding the symptoms of the patient, associating those symptoms with a particular disease, and offering a particular kind of treatment which is available with them. Now this has to change. The patient is first coming in contact with the person who is going to attend the telephone call, or the person who is sitting in your OPD when a patient walks into an emergency of a hospital or walks into the OPD of a hospital. It is your front office staff or your emergency staff who come in contact with the patient, and those people have to be trained in all the intricacies of healthcare. The doctors do realize that their staff lack training but have no idea how to move forward. Now this is where, if you look at even the websites of many of the hospitals, 90% of those websites do not offer the products that the hospital is offering. Now what is the product? So if a patient is suffering from a Gall Stones, the hospital is offering laparoscopic cholecystectomy as a service. The hospital is offering open cholecystectomy as a service and medical management of Gall Stones as a service. Are these things present on the website of your hospital? No. Now look at the websites of these digital disruptors. They have listed all the solutions which a healthcare offers. So basically all these things need to change, and they need to change much faster. Your staff needs to be trained in explaining the services that your particular hospital or your clinic is offering to the patients. In this fight, you cannot be seen on fighting on both the sides. So you need to get off these digital disruptors ASAP. Many reputed players, I mean, you look at these websites which are offering 30, 40, even 50% discounts on diagnostic tests. Players like Mfine, Book Mary Lab, and you'll see reputed players like Mahajan Imaging, Miracles Medical. Now these players don't need to be on these digital disruptors offering even a 20% discount on their services. When somebody calls your center, does your reception staff offer a 20% discount to the patient? So this means your product is being sold cheaper at someone else's platform than your own platform. So all your patients sooner or later would start coming to you through these digital players. So you are actually strengthening the hands of these digital players. Even I would say IMA should look at this threat in a very serious manner, and the regular meetings which each city unit of the IMA holes, they need to call experts to talk on these subjects and formulate a strategy to fight. And the first and the foremost step for any healthcare player is to get off the bandwagon of these digital disruptors. Our fight against these digital disruptors who are out to destroy the healthcare market is going to continue. We are going to bring you more and more videos, more and more insights onto this thread, and help you strengthen your fight against them. Thank you. If you are looking at this video, subscribe to our channel and like the video so that we can make more such informative videos for you. Thank you.